What's up, Legacy Life? Welcome to the Monday night team call. And tonight we're going to continue our annuity series, talking about annuities. Who are they for? How do they make sense? And so far, in the first part, I talked about how to find annuities, how to open the door potentially to your clients, just to see if they're even open to having a conversation. An annuity, again, it's a tool, it's a financial tool that can help somebody achieve certain financial goals, and it can really kick butt. In the second call, I talked about the truth about indexing, and some of the numbers behind fixed index annuities, and how I think you ought to properly structure those. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit talking about that stuff, so I'm going to take a little bit of a step back here and just high level. We're going to get into some details here. I'm going to go through some numbers just to show you guys some different outcomes here. But where do annuities make sense, and how do they make sense, and why is it a good solution for somebody as they are either in retirement or are approaching retirement, and how can we use this to better serve our clients? And so, again, what is an annuity? It's a contract with an insurance company. That's what it is. And what can an annuity achieve? Like, what can it actually go do for somebody? Is it could do a couple different things. It could do growth, it could do income, and any of the annuities that we're going to talk with people about are going to do safety. Okay. And today, so really what I'm talking about is, when it comes to annuities, is like, hey, their safety is a given with the fixed index products. Safety is a given. Okay. Growth, we're going to do that kind of like I talked about on the last call, through indexing to the S&P 500. There's a lot of really great products for that. If you were on that last call, I right now I really like Lincoln for that, but there's lots of really great products for growth, for someone who wants to protect their money, get that safety, that guaranteed safety, but then still get some upside if the market keeps rock and rolling higher. Tonight, I'm going to talk about income. So, here's what I want you guys to think about. As somebody's getting closer to retirement, as somebody is retired, really at the end of the day, what is retirement? It's an income. Okay. It's where you have enough money coming in that you don't have to work. You can just live off of the income of your investments. That's really what retirement is. And so, and I'll just tell you guys, I'll kind of cut to the chase here. Annuities absolutely kick butt at income. They dominate, okay, at income, and I'll show you guys the numbers in the scenario, in some scenarios and stuff like that. But a guaranteed income. Now, there's different ways that we can set up a guaranteed income, so it's different than a growth situation. Okay, growth is like, hey, somebody wants to protect the money, but they still want it to grow. But what for? Okay, and I'm not saying it's bad for growth, but I'm just saying, like, what for? Well, usually people want to grow their money so that way at some point they can either live off of it, number one, okay, which that's what we're talking about tonight, or like, hey, maybe they want to give it away, because at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. Okay, like you don't want to be the richest person in the graveyard. You're either going to give it away, kids, family, heirs, charities, whatever, or you can live on it. And there's a lot of people out there, you guys, that they've done really well in their 401ks. They've done really well, in their retirement accounts. And they're either in retirement or approaching retirement, and it's time for them to start living off the money that they've saved up, start to live off of their nest egg. And so you can do that with an annuity. You can absolutely do that with an annuity. And I think it's a really great option to guarantee an income. And you can guarantee income for life. Okay. And what I mean by that is, like, once you turn the income on, it's going to go your entire life, kind of like Social Security, kind of like a pension. And then so you could do it for an individual's life. You could also do what's called a joint life payout, where, hey, let's say the husband has $1 million in a 401k and they want to turn that into income. But then when he passes away, he also wants that income to go to the wife. Okay, well, you can do that with an annuity, and it can be guaranteed both of their lives. And if there ends up being any money left over, that can end up going to the kids. So it's a really, really good solution. And again, I know I'm just saying, like, oh my gosh, they're great, but compared to what? Okay, what are the other options out there? So I'm going to share my screen, and this is going to get a little bit green, and by green I mean just like analytical, detailed. So those of you guys that aren't so much analytical and detailed, like I said, just get the big picture here. okay, of how some of this stuff works, and why it might make sense for somebody to to put their money into an annuity rather than excuse me, leaving it in the market, that kind of thing. And so let me go pull something up here. I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet. Again, we're going to keep it pretty high level here, but I'm gonna pull up a spreadsheet, and I just for comparison purposes. Okay, so out there in the market, let me just pull these up. Okay. Okay, out there in the market, there's something out there called the safe withdrawal rate. Okay, and this is kind of I would call it a principle out there in finance with registered investment advisors and people that manage money. It's just kind of a fairly well-known thing that, hey, you've got, if you've got your money invested, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever it happens to be in, you can pretty reasonably take out X amount of dollars, per year, and the money won't run out. Okay. And what I'm going to show you guys here is how, like, hey, some people will say that's 4%, some people say that's 5%. Some people say 3.5%, so that safe withdrawal rate isn't necessarily set in stone. But what can happen is if you take out money at the wrong time, i.e., the wrong time during retirement, it can be pretty detrimental, to your retirement. And so I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to go through some of this stuff. We're gonna do some work here. So buckle up. This might be one that you want to look at. Watch the recording and all that kind of stuff. So here's a pretend client. Okay. And actually, this is a real client. I just put in $1 million. This client doesn't have $1 million. And if you look at this is what $1 million looks like in the stock market. Okay. Between the year 2000 and the year 2025. Okay. And just for comparison's sake, I've also got all the way back to 1998. Let's see, we put that in $1 million. Okay. No withdrawals. Again, don't get too caught up in the details or the spreadsheet here. Get the big picture. Okay, here is the big picture. You've got $1 million. It's the year 2000. Okay, you don't touch the money. You let it sit there for 25 years, and you have it invested somewhere where you got a 1% fee. Hey, you've got $3 million. Okay, like you've kicked butt. Okay, if you don't have a fee, you've kicked even more butt. All right, look at this. A little bit more, and I think the market might be positive. This is a little bit dated because it's a couple months old, but you leave it invested, you buy and hold, you're good. Let's say you find yourself at this point in time where you want to start to retire, you want to start taking money out. Okay, well, if we take out 5% per year, here's what I want you guys to get. Okay, so the safe withdrawal rate on $1 million. Okay, $1 million taken out 5% a year. Here's where the math starts to get a little bit fuzzy for a lot of folks. Is if you look at your average return, it's 7.85% after the fee. Okay, and let's say somebody does have a 1% fee. Okay, it's a little bit less. Okay, let's just call that 7%. Someone has that as their return. If you're averaging 6 or 7%, it's reasonable to think, or the flawed thinking might say, hey, I'm averaging 7%. I should be able to take out 5%, no problem at all. Okay, well, here's the math on it. Okay, like here's what it looks like, and bear with me a second here. I think. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, this is right. So it stands a reason like, hey, I'd be able to take out 5%. Well, if you do take out 5%, because of these down years, if you take out 5% on the down years, it really, really, really hurts. Okay. Even if we're not taking out money, okay, the down years still really hurt. Okay. You start with $1 million, and at the end of 2002, you're at 592. Okay. And then you finally get back up, close to $1 million right here, 2007. Oh, and then we have another crash. So you're at 571. So like, we don't know what the market's going to do. It might average 7%, but the sequence of returns is a major player, a major factor of this. Okay. And so, sorry, that's bothering me. So the sequence of returns really, really matters. So if you take out $50,000 on $1 million account, if you look at this, you end up running out of money. If you started doing this back in the year 2000, you start taking out 5%, even though it's a 6 or 7% average, you run out of money. Okay, like you're negative. right here. And if you think about it, like I don't even know if you got all your money back. You didn't. You didn't. If I tally all of this up, you end up getting $800,000. Okay, or excuse me, that one counts too. $850,000. It's a little bit less. It's 825,000 is what you would have gotten. Okay, because of this sequence of returns. All that means is like, hey, if you draw money down on a down year of the stock market, it really, really, really hurts. Now, if we end up having some, better years and things are better, okay, or if you start out and the market has a big upturn the first year that you start taking money, like, hey, you might be a little bit better off. Like that's also a possibility. Let's see what happens. Well, bam. Look at this. So, hey, if we start drawing money down when we have a 26% year the first year and then a 20% year, and then we have the downturn, like, hey, 5% ends up working out. Here's the thing with retirement. Here's the thing with retirees. People will make statements that are certain statements when built into the markets. Okay, like this is just looking at the S&P 500. Built into the markets is uncertainty. You don't know what it's going to do. We don't know what it's going to look like 5 years from now. We don't know what it's going to look like 3 years from now. Most of us right now don't even know what it's going to look like 6 months from now. You know what I mean? Yet you have people saying, oh, yeah, you could take out 6%. You could take out 7%. It's no problem. Okay. And it very well could be a problem. Okay. And so that's the point that I'm making here is like, hey, 4, 5, 6%. Even though you're averaging, your average might be really, really good, doesn't mean you could take out that much every year because of this sequence of returns. So all that means is, hey, there's this safe withdrawal rate on invested funds. And if you look at from the year 2000, 4%, you run out of money, after whatever this is, 20, 24, 25 years. Okay. So that's why there's that safe withdrawal rate. It's basically the rate at which you can withdraw money on invested funds without running out of money. It's about 4%. Now, why is an annuity good? Okay, or why does an annuity kick butt? Well, if you've got $1 million saved up, okay, and all you can get from that $1 million is $40,000 a year or $50,000 a year with certainty, or at least some certainty, maybe 80, 85% certainty that you're not going to run out of money by the time you pass away. That's where an annuity can really fit in, because with an annuity, these numbers are a lot higher, number one. So you're getting more income. Like your $1 million is yielding you more income, number one. But then number two, the risk is on the insurance company. The risk is no longer on you. Okay, meaning that they're going to guarantee the income even long after you run out of money. In fact, on a lot of annuities, you might be able to, let's just say it's closer to 7 or 8%. Okay, on a million, 7 or 8%, of what you could withdraw, guaranteed for life. On an annuity product, that's where this can really serve somebody, really help somebody. And the point being, let's say somebody has let's say that they have $2 million invested. Okay, and they want income and they want to get 60, 70, eight, let's say they want to get $80,000 a year of income. Well, if they have, or let me back up. Let's say somebody has $1 million and they need uh, $80,000 a year of income. Okay. Or darn it, now I'm getting all confused in my numbers. So if somebody has $1 million and they want to get $40,000 of income. Okay. So, hey, one way that they could do it is they could keep all $1 million invested and draw down the $40,000 per year. And hey, maybe it doesn't work out. Okay. Maybe they run out of money when they're 92, or hey, maybe it does work out. Okay. Just bear with me here. Maybe the market does really, really well and they don't run out of money. Okay, so that's one solution. I've got $1 million. I need 40 grand a year on top of Social Security and all that kind of stuff, for income in retirement. Okay. Or the other option is, hey, why don't we utilize an annuity with some of the money? Let's solve the goal of income with an annuity, and we're not going to need all $1 million to do it. And then we can let the rest of the money grow. What does that look like? So just to give you guys some examples here. Hold on, let me get it pulled up. Bear with me. Bear with me. I hope that this is making sense. So like in this hypothetical example, someone's got $1 million and they need $40,000 a year of income. Okay. And I'm actually going to just pull up a client that's at the same age as the client that I was just showing you right there. Hey, they might run out of money in that example that I just showed you guys. There we go. Bear with me. Ka-chow. This is I'm telling you guys, this is where annuities really serve people. Okay. So here's the example. $1 million, need $40,000 a year of income. Option number one, keep all $1 million invested and draw down on it. And let's hope that the markets kick butt. Okay. If it's like 1998 to 2025, like, hey, you're good and you still got $1.3 million left over. If it's like 2020 to 2025, hey, you run out. Okay. When you're 91, 92. And here's the point is we don't know. We don't know what is going to happen. We don't know what the market's going to look like 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 6 months from now. Okay. So, hey, you might, this 40 grand on your million, you might run out of money or you might just have like millions of dollars left over. We don't know what the outcome's going to be. Where an annuity can just absolutely crush it. Okay. Is this right here. So you take that same client, the same $1 million, and we go solve for $40,000 worth of, or 40,000 a year of income. Okay. So 67-year-old male, retired, close to retirement, whatever it happens to be. Again, this is just an example. Okay. But if we want to get $40,000 a year of income, we can do that with this product right here. They're the number one product right now. And it would cost him $508,000. And now, again, that's if he takes income immediately. Okay. I'm not saying this isn't factoring in if you were to wait a year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or whatever. Okay. Let's just say immediate income. Okay. Well, then this F&G product. Okay. If you pay 500, let's just call it $509,000, that's going to get you $40,000 a year compared to the safe withdrawal rate of $1 million invested gets you the 40,000. You guys, hopefully you guys are seeing the difference here. $1 million invested, safe withdrawal rate, $40,000 a year. You still might run out at 91, 92, or if the market's crazy, okay? Or you might end up really well. Well, what we can do is we can secure it, we can guarantee it, okay? Where, hey, you're $508,000, this is guaranteed. This is regardless of what the market does, the stock market, bonds or tariffs or China, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff, like it does not matter. It's $40,000 a year. It's guaranteed, secured by the insurance company. Okay. And by the way, by an A-rated insurance company. So it's secured, it's guaranteed. Now, here's the thing. We solve for income, and instead of needing all $1 million invested in order to get this $40,000 a year of income, and then, hey, hope we don't run out, we're going to secure and we're going to guarantee the income. And then with the other 490,000, okay, here's the difference. Okay, the other 490,000, you just let it ride. You don't have to take any income off of it, theoretically. Okay, so if we put 490,000 in here, what do you end up having? Even in the year from the year 2000 to 2025 scenario where we start out with some rough times, okay, you still end up with 1.5 left over. Now, if the market does even better and we don't have to take any income, sorry, this spreadsheet's a little, you got to update it. 490, you absolutely crush it. You've got your $40,000 a year, and because you were able to buy and hold the investments and not have to withdraw on them and take income off of them and have to take income in these really rough years, okay, or the years where, hey, maybe you're not performing the way that you thought you ought to, or it's not performing as much as it could. If you take that 490,000, I mean, you're quite literally, like, you are better off having the 500,000, let's say, in the income annuity, and then that way you can let the other 500,000 stay invested. You have more assets, okay, later in life, and you have the guaranteed income. Okay, you have both of those things. This is where an income annuity just absolutely crushes you guys. And I'm telling you, there are so many people out there right now that they need income. they need one of these products. Like they were looking for one of these products because they're in a situation where, hey, they've got the $1 million, but they have to draw it down. Okay. Well, hey, leave half the money in there. Let's put half of it into an income annuity. Let's secure the income. Let's guarantee the income. Let's take care of the income that you need for retirement. Doesn't matter what's going on with tariffs. You're getting a check from the insurance company every single year. Okay. Or excuse me, every single month. They could do monthly, they could do yearly, whatever. And then that way you can leave the rest of your money and you don't have, like, if the stock market's up, if it's down, it doesn't matter that much because you're not relying on this for your retirement income. Okay. You're relying on the annuity for the retirement income and maybe Social Security. Well, guess what? The annuity and Social Security, those things are guaranteed. Okay. The market is not guaranteed. So, like, hey, let's utilize the market for what the market's good at, growth. Okay. The market is fantastic at growth. I mean, look at this. Just look at it. Okay. The market's fantastic for growth, but drawing down on invested funds can be a dangerous game. Okay. And that's really the point. And that's why an income annuity, that's why these things kick so much butt, you guys. And just to give you a little bit of detail, I'm not going to jump so far into these income products and how they work, but this one in particular, I really like it. This is one with F&G. It's called Safe Income Advantage. It's a great product. And how these products work is basically someone puts the money in there and then they can start taking income right away. I've helped clients do that, or they could defer the income a couple of years. So let me just show you guys what that might look like. So, in fact, in the past, I don't know, 60 days, I had one client that we're putting an application in now. They're going to take income right away. Okay, literally as soon as the contract issues, we're filling out the paperwork to turn on the income, start paying us checks. I've got another gal who we're going to wait for 4 years, just like Social Security, just like a pension, just like anything else out there. Okay, the income is higher if you defer it. So just as an example here, let's just take that same ballpark kind of number. Let's say 500,000. I think I just hit the wrong button. There we go. Okay. So 500,000 is going to get you roughly, let's call it $40,000 a year for a 67-year-old male. Here's the other thing on these products I want you guys to realize. Somebody's older, the income's probably a little bit higher. If somebody's a male, the income is maybe a little bit higher. If someone's a female, okay, income might be a little bit lower. Okay, a lot of this stuff has to actually look at the female rates the same on F&G right now, which is cool. So male, female is the same with them. But those things matter. So it's not like a one size fits all. Hey, you're just going to get, whatever that is, 7.8% guaranteed the rest of your life. Okay, it's different depending on age, depending on gender. Are we doing single income? Are we doing joint income? So you really got to run these scenarios to see which product, which company is going to be the best. The other factor on these income products is it going to be income immediately, or is it going to be income a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now? And at what age do we turn on the income? Okay. So just to show you here, hey, if you defer it for a year, then, oh, it looks like this company's the best National Western Life. Okay. What if we defer it 2 years? It's probably a different company. Or maybe it's these guys like, oh, yeah, National Western yet again. If we defer it 3 years, and you'll start to see, like, you'll just get different companies depending on how long nationwide, if we defer it for 3 years. And then it's different, for joint income as well. So like, hey, what if we look at joint income and we want to do the joint income right away? Like, who's the best? Gillico. I just put an application in with Gillico. So annuities and income, they crush it. Okay, because we don't have to use all the funds. We can use a portion of the funds, accomplish the income goal, secure it, guarantee it, lock it in for life. Okay, and then they can use the rest of the money to continue to grow and earn and grow and but they can do it in a way where they're not worried about the stock market for their future income. Their future income is secure, it's guaranteed, and I hope that at least for this part right here, I hope that I did a good job, of explaining it. But I'll tell you guys, like, there are so many people out there that, like, this is what they're looking for. Like, they're looking for a secure, like it's almost like they can create their own pension. Okay, like pensions, have become less and less and less popular, and it's all kind of shifted over to 401ks. And the 401ks are great; people can earn money and stuff, but they don't get a secure guaranteed income like they did on a pension. And so it's a way that someone can turn their 401k into kind of their own personal pension that they set up, that they control, and that they can utilize for income in retirement. Because, like I said at the beginning, retirement is really an income. Okay, and we've got Social Security, but then there's a lot of people that, hey, they don't have a pension. They don't, like, all they have is Social Security, but they've got this 401k. And it's my opinion that they're better off putting that 401k if they need the income. Now, if they don't need the income, hey, maybe that's a much different conversation. But there's a lot of people that need the income. So if someone needs the income, I think that they're better off putting, like, hey, let's go secure and let's solve for the income. Let's go make the income guaranteed, whatever it needs to be in those retirement years. And then you can leave the rest of the money, growing in the stock market, all that kind of stuff. So I hope I did a good job explaining this. Next week we're going to talk about some more stuff. But so far, we've talked about how to open the door, maybe find more annuities. I talked about growth products and then the indexing on growth products, and then this one I'm talking about, the income products, and why do those make sense and why do they kick so much butt? So we're going to kind of keep the series rolling. I appreciate you guys for hopping on here, and we're halfway through the month of May, or I say halfway. We're really 2 weeks in. This is a 5-week month. We've got 3 more weeks this month, you guys. Let's go kick some butt. We're having a record year so far. I think we're going to continue to have a record year. But I want you guys. If you're in here, if you're in it to win it, if you want 20.